What's going on, my YouTube people? How's everybody doing? I hope everybody's doing great as usual, guys. I'm not going to try to be that long, although I do have a lot to say, so it might be long. But anyways, guys, I want to thank everybody for all their support, man. Ghost of Tsushima we have here in this comparison, guys. What better game than this game to do this type of comparison, guys? And let me just tell you guys, I got the 77-inch A95L to the left. I got the 77-inch LG G4 to the right. And I just got to say, guys, we are going to do this comparison with the two, but I'm primarily going to be speaking about the G4 because it's the new TV. It's got the new processor. We're comparing it to the best of the best that we are already familiar with, the A95L. So there's really not much to say about the A95L. I will bring out some points through some examples here, but guys, let me just tell you really quick, right off the bat, not wasting anyone's time, man. The G4 is a tremendous TV. It's that simple. Now, let me just give you a little bit of background first, right? I've had OLED TVs since 2017. Just in case you guys don't know who I am, I've had the E7, two CX5s, or I'm sorry, two CX10s, the G2. I've had the G3. Now I am on the G4. I've also had the Samsung S95B, the Samsung S95C, the Sony A95K. I've had, and as you can see, I purchased two 77-inch A95Ls. You know how much you have to love a TV in order to buy it twice, guys? A lot, all right? Now, let me just tell you, from that perspective, the G4 is a monster of a TV, guys. It really is. For me, things that are important to me are the following: fine details, you know, color, 3D pop, motion, gaming is huge to me. That's like literally probably the number one most important thing, and how the TVs look in gaming picture quality wise. Clarity is also a very important thing for me as well. Highlights, one of those things that, are important to me, not a priority, but definitely important, especially if a TV can bring out more details within the highlights. And let me just tell you guys, the G4 has done that. Maybe not perfectly, but they have the ability to do it better than anyone else as far as I'm concerned, or as far as I've seen. Uh, and I know that probably, goes with a grain of salt for you guys. I'm not a professional. I'm more of a consumer uh, enthusiast, but at the same time, I definitely have my experience with LG. I know them very well. I know what they're capable of doing, and I know their potential because I've had them for so long. I've even had, like, everything LG. I have my washer, my dryer, my dishwasher, my oven, my refrigerator is also from LG. So I know the product very well. I know what they're capable of all the way around. And let me tell you guys, when it comes to their TVs, man, I've never really had any serious issues. Yes, panel lottery issues I've had with their OLEDs, some banding. I've even had some image retention, guys. But as far as like reliability, trustworthiness, you know, just overall build quality and things like that, value, picture quality. I really always thought that LG was amongst the top, and they held it down. And the reason why TV technology is what it is today is because of LG. In my personal opinion, they've created this market. And look, guys, that's not without saying that there's not other great TVs out there. Obviously, there is. The A95L, the Sony A95L, the TV of the year last year. I bought it twice, guys. That's how much I love that TV. So please spare me the misery of of saying, you know, I'm a fanboy and this and that, because I'm simply not. I don't care what brand it is. As long as I get the experience I'm looking for, then I'm okay with whatever brand it is. I can care less even if it's Vizio. I really don't care. If they're going to be the champs one day of something, I'm going to get their TV, point blank, period. But guys, things like color, as you guys can see, are no longer an issue. We can go here and I can show you guys on the A95L, right? I just want to prove to you guys some examples here. And we all know that even though the Samsung A95L is a QD OLED, it's still going to have Sony's, let's say, you know, signature as far as what they want their color to look like. But we're going to go ahead and go to color. Oops. And as you can see, we're at 60 and live color is on low, right? Color temperature warm, all right? And just for future reference, I want to show you something else. As far as reality creation is on auto, all right? That's how I typically like to play video games, especially video games like this that are not competitive. You know, the more pop I can get out of a TV, the more detail I can get out of a TV, and you know, I'm not really, let's say, competitive first-person shooter gaming, then I'm okay with that, because, you know, it's more of a laid-back environment. It's more of a cinematic experience that you're looking for. You're looking for more pop. But back to my point, the color, guys. We're going to go to the LG, and as we all know, there's no feature similar to live color that LG provides. And look, I'm going to go, oops, sorry, I didn't mean that. We're going to go to color, game optimizer. We're going to flip down to picture over here, and we're going to go all the way down to the bottom. And as you can see, game color depth 59. And then look, guys, with live color on and at 60, look at who has more color, guys. The LG G4. So I truly believe this is a contribution of LG's A11 processor, new MLA, you know, 2.0, whatever you want to call it, their new panel. It is a new gen panel. I think those two paired up, so have, you know, will provide this image. And also, at the end of the day, this is LG's statement to all of us, guys. I know LG really well as far as from a consumer perspective. I don't know anyone from there personally, obviously. I'm not that big, but this is clearly LG's way of saying, guys, listen, just because QD OLED is a new technology, it doesn't mean that that's the reason why their color is better. Yes, the QD OLED technology is, you can get more colorful with certain colors. I get it, guys. I really do. And I know that QD OLED has its advantages over WRGB, particularly in like posterization and things like that. I do still feel like the QD OLED does have a cleaner panel, but LG just has it down overall better than, let's say, the Sony A95L, guys. And I'm saying that reluctantly. I really, really am. I'm not saying that happily as much as you may think, because, guys, I bought two of them, all right? So, you know, my point is that I'm trying to find each and every way to justify my two TV A95L purchases and say that there's no way that my A95Ls are not any better than the LG G4, the TV of the year last year, the best TV I've ever seen in my entire life, the A95L, the best TV I ever had from up and down. I checked all the boxes, everything, color, smoothness, processing. There's no way. But guys, I'm sorry to say the LG G4 has proved me wrong. And yes, I am pleasantly surprised. I'm happy. It's a joy owning the TV. But let me just tell you guys something, man. I can't personally believe it. And it's like one of those things where I'm so surprised and happy at the same time, because in the back of my mind I was rooting for LG, and I knew, as you guys saw in my previous videos, regarding the G4 and its new processor, I was basically telling you guys this is what I think LG is going to do. I think they're going to really, tear the house down. I think they're going to improve their fine details. I think they're going to improve their brightness. I think they're going to improve their color with this new processor. I mean, that's the whole point of a new processor, is just to improve everything that they've been getting called out for over the past recent years, especially in gaming, guys. We all know that, like, for example, last year the LG G3, right? Phenomenal TV. You guys know I have one, or had one. It's home with a new owner right now. You know, primarily that it was mostly known for not so much gaming, but it tore the house down, it blew everybody away for the most part when it came to physical disc, HDR, 4K movie watching. That experience alone had the best, in my personal opinion, best details, color thing. It had the luminosity. It really had everything down. And then when you switched over to game mode, it's like it just kind of like went flat, as far as the colors go. I personally did not mind it as much as other reviewers. I still thought the gaming experience was terrific, actually. To me, there's more than just color and brightness that will provide a great gaming experience. And LG has always provided that throughout the years. They have the best gaming menu, the best customizations. Now they're, to me, the best in dynamic tone mapping, or tone mapping in general when it comes specifically to gaming. I'm not so sure yet when it comes to movie watching, physical disc versus streaming and things like that. I know that there's some differences there, but when it comes to gaming, guys, look at how beautiful the LG G4 looks. And again, remember, I do have dynamic tone mapping on. I do have I think I do have brightness preferred on for, let's go back again, for tone mapping on the A95L. Yes, I do, as you guys can see right there. So they're pretty much at some of the most equal settings that you can have, except for live color is on the A95L, and reality creation is on. And I'm still getting better details, better clarity, better color in most areas where you wouldn't think so with the G4, a WRGB panel, guys. That's my point with this video here. I mean, look at the G4, just tear it up, guys. Look at the reflections on the water. Look at how good and how much more reflection there is in the water over the A95L. We're talking about the TV of the year last year, guys. And I know that we're talking new processor versus older processor of the Sony, and I get it. And I get that Sony can just flat out come out next year with a new processor. And that's probably what they're doing. They're probably taking a step back a year away from QD OLED to come out with a new processor, and then they're gonna just tear the house down and look even better than this. And I will tell you guys, if it can look better than this right here, I mean, what else do we have to ask for? What else can we possibly ask for? It is amazing. You guys can just see for yourself over here how good the processing looks. Now, I'm going to try to go ahead and just, go around and try to see if you guys can see what I see. But look at the reflection from the sun on the water right there. I mean, look at how clear and beautiful that looks. Now it's getting darker. Sun is setting, so I'm going to go ahead and go into some other areas here where we can do some more comparisons. I mean, look at when we go into this wooded area with these yellow trees. I mean, look at how amazing this is going to look, guys. Let's go up this trail here. And as you guys can see, color is no longer a serious issue. Look. You know, and remember, guys, again, the G3 last year was known to be able to get to some phenomenal color, just not in game mode. So it's like basically what they did was they took their implementation of what they can do in their movies or watching physical disc 4K HDR, and they just turned it so you can do the same thing in game mode. And as you can see, look at the result. It's brighter. There's really no difference between, watching movies and gaming anymore. It just has the better look to it. I mean, it just has that brighter, the more colorful look, as you guys can clearly see. There's more to it than that too, guys. I'm going to show you some other examples in another game in this video. I'm going to show you what I've noticed and what, especially when it comes to motion, some of the improvements that the LG G4 has made with their new A11 processor. But I just want to get to some scenes here, right here, guys. As you guys can see, as the sun is setting, I mean, look at how beautiful this looks. Look at the trees, look at the sunset, look at the pink clouds. I mean, guys, does it really get any better than this? I mean, come on. Like, this is just tremendous. Look at the details in the rocks in the background with the LG G4. See how they're just more pronounced? You see the 3D pop. You see how three-dimensional it looks. I know I will give you better examples than this as far as the 3D goes, but it just, in person, you can clearly see how much more 3D it looks over the A95L. And don't get me wrong, guys, I know that the Sony A95L is probably not, let's say, classified or, has the most recognition for gaming, but it did have some major improvements over the A95K with gaming. They dedicated a little bit more into gaming and giving you a better gaming experience. And I always thought, why wouldn't they be the most superior gaming TV in the first place, being that, Sony has their own console, the PS5. And yeah, I get it. I know they're two completely different departments, but it's still Sony. And Sony, in my opinion, should be best compatible with Sony, regardless of who creates the console and who creates their TVs. They should just still have, a setup where you get the most optimized experience when you connect a Sony console to a Sony TV. That's just my personal opinion. And we're just not getting that right now. What we're getting right now is a better experience with the G4. And again, it could obviously be that the G4 has a new processor. Maybe they changed their algorithm a little bit and how they utilize their color. But guys, check it out. Whew. I mean, it is just like I can sit here all day. I can call out of work and just do this all day. This is how good this TV is. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and we're going to back out of this game. And I'm going to give you some more examples. My favorite game over here, guys. God of War. Ragnarok. And we're going to do some close-ups too, so be prepared for that. So the first thing I want to do is when I load up Ragnarok is I do want to get to, I want to load to a certain scene. When I get there, I will show you. I don't know what happened with the A95L here. Let me just go back. Sorry, guys. Sometimes my splitter can act a little weird. Let me go turn off the TV and then turn it back on before I load. All right, there we go. So now we're going to go to load game. I think it was autosave 40. Excuse me. Now we're going to go ahead and load that up. And I'm sorry, guys, if you notice any pink tinting or anything like that on the QD OLED, please know on the A95L that that is not the case in person. It does not look like that. That is just the camera. All right, so now we're in a scene here where I really just want to first show you guys, again, another example of color, guys. I have live color on. Live color, what that does for the A95L, it just enhances the color saturation, giving it more, let's say, color purity. And at times, too, you notice that it definitely provides more luminosity and things like that. But guys, look, first of all, the color red is like a primary color that has always been known to be compared to with each other or against each other with all TVs, especially OLEDs versus QD OLEDs, because we all know QD OLEDs, especially with Samsung, the color red just looks amazing. I wish I had the S90D here, but it is on its way to compare that too, and I will do the same comparison with the color red. But for now, as you guys can clearly see, that whole concept or idea of the LG not being able to keep up with the color red is gone. It's just gone. Guys, I showed you what my colors were. And look, the color red looks more red than the color red, or the color red looks more red on the G4 than the color red the way it looks on the A95L. I mean, it just, and it has more pop to it at the same time, all while not losing its brightness and all while not losing its fine details. That's what the G4 is capable of doing. And don't get me wrong, there's certain times where, especially with dynamic tone mapping on and the highlights and things like that, you're gonna lose detail, like as you can see here, when you go up with dynamic tone mapping on. But that's like basically a very particular situation. This right here, overall color, guys, look at that. Look how much more red. And that's with live color on. And look, it's on low, but look. Look at how much color there is on the G4 now. So that's one thing I wanted to show you guys. And then over here, oh, going the wrong way, sorry. Over here, we're going to do a close-up, and I want you guys to pay attention. You see this chain here that once I press circle, we're going to start moving down that direction over there. Now, watch. I want you to pay attention to the motion of the chain. Now, you're going to notice, especially in the parts where the chain, the motion starts speeding up and the chain, the boat starts moving faster, the chain is going to start, the motion is going to start moving faster. In those particular moments right there is when I want you guys to look and see what I mean as far as how the motion looks. It's going to look more natural, in my personal opinion, with with the G4. I did this like 10 or 20 times, and what I notice is, especially when the motions or the panning starts getting faster and the chain starts moving faster, it looks a little bit more artificial on the A95L with more artifacts, trying to keep up with the response time than the G4. I just feel like the G4 does a better job at managing that motion and still making it look natural with less artifacts when it's in motion. So I'm gonna go ahead, pick up the camera now, and I want you guys to look, because I want to do a little bit more of a close-up. I'm going to get a few feet closer, and I'm going to go ahead and hit circle. We're going to do this more than once so you guys can see it going one way and then going the other. So they still somewhat look the same. They somewhat look the same. And now right around here, look, guys. Look at how smooth the chain looks. And then we're going to go ahead and I'm going to flip around the other direction so you guys can see from this angle. I'm going to go back and look again. See that? All right, well, I definitely see it. So motion, guys, motion has just gotten, and I'm going to do it one more time going back because that's the direction that I want to go. So now, if you guys didn't see it with the chain, what I want you to do is concentrate in here. All right, this area here with this. So now watch, we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna hit circle, and I want you to look at the motion on that. Look at that. Look how nice and smooth that looks. See it spinning? Now watch. See how it just can't get, like, it doesn't look as natural as that? Like, it just actually looks like it's in motion, like it's real, like, you know? And don't get me wrong, guys, the A95L is no slouch. It has made some really great, really good improvements over the A95K when it came to motion, but that's just what I wanted to briefly bring up right there. So motion has definitely gotten better. And you know what the crazy part is, you know, both LG and Sony have been known to provide optimal motion. They both have good reputations for motion. So, you know, they're pretty much always dead even. I do think with the new when the A95K was released in 2022, something happened there where the motion was worse than their past TVs. I don't know what happened, but you know, I just feel like when the A95L was released, they did address those issues, and there has been improvement. So now we're looking at, you know, better motion on the A95L versus the new processor, A11 processor of the LG G4's motion. And I will say that, you know, as far as motion goes, it's just a little bit better than the A95L. It just looks more natural and smooth in situations like that. Now look over here, I'm gonna go to my transport. Now, another thing I want to show you guys is down here. Little things like this is what I notice. If you look where the blue orb is, right? And if you look down where the wood is, under the circle, look at how much more brighter, and you see the luminosity. The luminosity is just there, like, you know, on the G4. It just looks like there's more luminosity without losing detail, and at the same time still having that 3D effect on the G4. It just has more of that 3D look to it, maintaining the same color blue. You know, it's not like, you know, the QD OLED. There's just almost no difference. It's like QD OLED level color right now, even with blue, which is another primary color. All while being able to maintain detail, clarity, and things like that. So, you know, I did notice that one time when I was looking. I mean, it just has that pop to it, guys. It really, really does. And again, I know that I'm mostly talking about the G4 in this video, and I completely understand that, guys. But it's because we're already familiar with the A95L. We already know the capabilities of the A95L. So all I'm doing is taking the G4 and stacking it up against the best of the best right here. And this is what the G4 is providing. It is just a beast of a TV, guys. It really, really is. So now we're going to go ahead and transport over to one of my favorite comparisons that I'm most familiar with in this area. Here, we're going to go to Cinder's house. And let's go ahead, hold down X, and look at the detail, guys, on both of these TVs. They just look good. And I understand we're splitting hairs here, guys. You know, you're gonna be, you know, stoked with whatever TV you choose. But let me just tell you guys, the whole thing about, you know, WRGBs being an outdated technology. Again, I'm familiar with LG. I know how they, you know, manage their technology as a consumer. Again, I'm not a professional, but I just knew what LG's statement was when they were when they made this TV with the new A11 processor. I knew what they were going to do in advance just because I just know them very well, and they have a product that they are so good at that they're not just gonna give up and say, "Oh, well, you know, QD OLED's out now. Forget, we're done." They're not gonna do that, guys. They're stubborn. They know how to make great product. They know how to make the best TVs in the world, or some of the best TVs in the world, and their statement here is to prove again that just because QD OLED is a newer technology, it doesn't necessarily mean it's better. It has a lot to do with processing, and that is what their statement is on this. And they proved it clearly, very, very well. The the fact that I own two A95Ls and then now own the G4, I'm just pleasantly surprised. I'm just at I feel privileged to have these TVs. So we're gonna do a close up here, guys. I just want to show you guys something really quick. Let me see if I can get a better angle here on her waist armor, that buckle. I'm trying to get there. All right, so that's probably as good as I'm gonna be able to get it right there. But anyways, right here. All right, so I'm gonna get closer and I'm gonna show you guys what I mean. All right, so we're gonna go to the G4 first, okay? Now, guys, look at that clarity. Look at the details. Look how they're just so pronounced. Look how sharp they are, right? Look how 3D looking they are. Even her belt here, look at how like detailed it is, right? And then we go back and you can get a better idea. And look how 3D that image looks, right? We're gonna go to the A95L. And again, guys, I know we're splitting hairs here, but look, you can see it looks great. And this is with reality creation on low. And it looks very, very nice. And look, you see how, like, I don't know, it's like the sharpness is a little bit more flat, or maybe that's not the best way to explain it, but the sharpness is just not intact as well. You know, it looks a little bit like more kind of blurry in the finer details, where you would see over here. You can see how they're a little bit more clear, right? And at the same time, we'll do an overall kind of look over here. See how it looks just a little bit more flat, right? Like the overall image just looks a little bit more on the flat side, like not as 3D. And then you go to the A95L and look, it just pops, guys. Like Freya's face, her shirt, the color red, the details, the fine details in there, like all the imperfections, like all her hair, just looks like you can grab it. You know, the dirt on her face just looks like it's actually dirt, like it's not fake. Here, you know, again, it doesn't look like as detailed. It looks a little bit softer. This is with reality creation again on low. And then, yes, you do have very, very nice fine details on her shirt with the color red, and the imperfections and the stitching and things like that. Her hair does look really, really good, very, very 3D like in her hair. So, I mean, I can't really complain about that. It looks very similar to the G4, but the G4, I mean, come on, guys, look at that. Like, it's just insane right there. Now, I'm going to do one more example of what I mean by the way the TV looks 3D wise, right? All right, so let me just go ahead and kind of pan around to Kratos over here. All right. Trying to get a kind of like a background, foreground look. All right, guys, here we go. I'm going to do another close-up, and this is it. All right, so over here, again, we're going to go to the G4, right? So if you look at his shoulder right here, right? Again, foreground to background, you can see like there's more distance, more depth in between the two over from the shoulder to Freya. Like if you look over here, it looks great, guys. Don't get me wrong, especially like the fine details and things like that look really, really good. But um, if you look closer, as close as you can pretty much see it has a good depth perception on the A95L, and it's like you probably wouldn't even notice with the unless the two TVs were together. But then you just scroll over to the G4, and you can just see that there's just more separation between Kratos and Freya when you look. You see, even at like where the heads are, like you see, there's more distance between the two over this one. Like you can kind of tell that there is more depth perception. And then if you look at his shoulder sticking out more, I mean, it looks like you can grab it. Like it looks like you can actually, uh, like it looks like it's sticking out of the TV. The A95L does have that 3D pop, but it doesn't have it where it just kind of looks like you can grab it out of the TV. It looks good. Don't get me wrong. I've never thought that I would actually say that the LG G4 looks better than the A95L in such an extreme way, but it does. And the crazy part is that it's kind of like LG took what Sony can do and then added what LG can do and kind of like made a hybrid of the two and created their own new signature look with their processor because their processor can do it. And let's just face it, guys, it does come down to processing. And let's also face the fact that because it's a new processor, it can do more than any other TV that's out right now because it is a brand new processor, like literally a complete revamped processor that can has more power, it's newer, and can do more. So that's pretty much my take on how what I see and what I notice with the LG G4, comparing it to the A95L, my best TV that I ever owned so far, the A95L. Now, a couple other things I do want to speak about, by the way. Um, as we know, the G3 last year did not get that much praise also for its sound quality. It kind of sounded tinny. It was kind of a little bit of a letdown. Um, I know for most people that you're not really going to care too much about that regardless. So, you know, I don't want to spend too much time on it, but the G4's sound quality has improved. It's gotten better. It sounds more bassy and it just gives you a better experience. And I just feel like they did the right thing there because I just feel like when you purchase a TV, even though many people are going to say you're going to want to get, to really optimize your experience, you really want to get sound bar and things like that of that nature, surround sound or rear speakers, subwoofer, just to really get your experience, if it's that important to you to have a more optimal experience. And I get it. But what I will say is when you're spending this much money on a TV, you're going to want to have somewhat of a good sound system coming out of the speakers themselves because you're spending that much money. Like, I just feel like, they're cheap, they cheapen out and they jip you on that for many, many reasons. So to save on costs or whatever the case is. But I just feel like it's a little bit of a letdown, a little bit of a ripoff when they do that. And I feel like they get away with that too easily. So when you're spending that kind of money, guys, come on. I mean, let's get real here. It's not we shouldn't really be gypped or cheapened out on almost any aspect whatsoever. But they're doing that to maximize their profits, and I get it. But this year, the G4 has definitely stepped up their sound quality, which I thank them because, guys, when you think about it, even when you do purchase a surround sound system, let's say you purchase, one that's compatible that can also make your TV speakers the center speaker. You're going to get great sound quality out of the sound bar, the rear speakers, the subwoofer. But then when you sync them and you make your built-in speakers the center speaker, and they're not great speakers, it's gonna really downgrade your experience than upgrade it. So you're gonna want to have good speakers built in to your TVs for that reason. Like the Sony A95L, for example, great speaker system. Once you made it with their center speaker, or I'm sorry, their surround sound systems, and you can that are compatible to make it your TV, the center speaker for them, it sounds fantastic. It does sound really good, and it's just a good match. But if let's say Samsung has their Q Symphony technology, which essentially does the same thing. If their speakers are not that great, you're not going to get the best experience when you do that, because if their internal speakers are not that great, you're not going to get the best experience. Same thing with LG. So I'm glad that LG has stepped that up. So when they use their internal speakers as their center and use surround sound, it's going to be a much better experience or over its last year's predecessor, using the center speaker. If you're not using it as a center speaker, then forget you can disregard what I'm saying. But that's my point, guys. WebOS, for some reason, their new WebOS system, I just feel like it's gotten slower. That's another thing with the G4 I've noticed. It just seems like it's more, like just to click onto a menu, you get that little circle that you're waiting for to load up to your next menu. I just feel like this takes longer than almost any LG that I've had in the past, but especially against the G4. But I don't really know what to say about that. For some reason, I just feel like it's not loading as quick as it used to be. And I love the WebOS menu navigation system. I still think it's one of the best because of how thorough it is in explanation when you do get to certain settings. But again, I just feel like it's gotten slower over the last year. It just seems like things take longer to load. So I'm not happy about that, but it doesn't matter. I'm kind of nitpicking here. But anyways, guys, tell me what you think. Do you think that, LG has really stepped it up here like I do and kind of changed the game, opened up people's eyes, making them realize it's not just because it's a WRGB, it's an old technology, things like that. That's how I feel. I just think that I never thought anything negative like that personally about WRGB. I'm ecstatic for the TV, and I think they did a phenomenal job for the G4, and it's going to be the TV to beat. And I think that the LG G4 has an extremely good chance of being the TV of the year, very easily, actually. Especially when you compare it to the A95L, the TV of the year last year. And I know they're completely different model years, but remember, guys, the A95L only came out a few months ago. It's not even a year old. So, we're really comparing two technologies that are closer than you think as far as time goes. But thank you guys so much. I hope you appreciated this video. I will get more into it. Let me know what you guys think. I hope you hit a like on the video and everything. And I hope you guys had fun watching this video. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.